Afternoon, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School. What I want to do is I want to follow up on a video that I did a couple months ago on the Swedish sanding saw. And if you'll remember right, it was just a 90-degree bend stick, basically, out of a wood pile that had a piece of 1-inch sandpaper that was taped to one end and wrapped around the other so that you could hold it with your palm. And it works for shaping contours like knife handles and spoon blanks and things like that. And we used this quite extensively this last weekend at our basic knife class to shape handles on knives with. And my dad got to look at it and he's like, you know, you should really make something like that is folding. It would be much easier for you to pack that way. And if you had time to make it beforehand, you didn't want to just find a stick in the woods. If you could make something that would fold up fairly small, that would be very convenient. So I put my brain to work and I'm going to show you what I came up with right now. Stay with me. So after talking and bouncing things off with my dad, this is what I came up with. This is the folding Swedish sanding saw. So you can put everything into something about this much space very easily. And all I did was I took a piece of 1x2 oak and I cut it down to 1.25 inches, knowing that my sandpaper was 1 inch. So I wanted a little bit of leeway there. And then we cut a slot in the front end of it with just a dovetail saw, and the friction will hold that sandpaper in. You don't have to worry about clamping it in that way. I cut a 45-degree cut in one piece to get two, and when you match the two miters up, it makes that 90-degree bend that you can put at an angle, very much like a Sven saw. Then I just used a piece of pigskin on the back side here, a pigskin split, and I glued it on and nailed it with 4 furniture tacks. So now all I have to do is unfold it, slide my sandpaper into the slot, pull it backwards, and then pull it back against the handle just like I do with the other folding saw. And it works exactly the same way that saw works. To get around contours, you can see how it shapes itself to whatever you're trying to sand down. So if I'm working on the back of this spoon bowl, I can even turn this thing at an angle if I want to, side to side. It's not going to go anywhere, and it just shapes itself exactly to what you're trying to sand. And that is the convenience of this Swedish sanding saw. So by having some extra, I can always tear off the bad pieces or the wore out pieces and put more on. But when I want to put this thing away, it folds up very, very small. I can just roll the sandpaper up into a roll. If I had some type of a sleeve to put this in, or an envelope, it would all pack into a very small sleeve, just like that, into a backpack or a working bag. Now I cut this one the perfect size so that one leg of that saw was the same size as this rigger's bag that I use for all of my carving tools. And it goes in the bottom, and the rest of my larger carving tools go inside with my mallet and all of my chisels and things like that, and my clamps. And then I've got areas for tools on the outside as well. So that makes a very convenient way to carry that sanding saw now that it folds up. All right, guys, well, I've been real busy all weekend teaching a basic knife making class, and I've been cleaning up after the fact today, but I wanted to get a quick video shot for you guys when my dad and I came up with that idea of how to make that folding sanding saw, because I thought it was a really cool thing, and I thought you guys would enjoy that tip or trick as well. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business, all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends, and I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.